Druids, man. Why? It's always cats. Y'all had withdrawals from Peace Bloom. This man went full Sith over Morrograin. Y'all really go over the deep end if you don't get your nip. Alright, here we go. Health pool. Damage. Hitbox. Fandral, aka Majordomo Staghelm. TLDW. Compact together to get him into Scorpion phase. Share the cleave to survive the damage. If you're going for optimal, shift him to cat form before he cleaves. If you're going for traditional, take the cleaves to 7 or 8 stacks, rolling coolies. Then separate for him to go into cat form. When he picks you, run out of the burning leap. Tank taunts the ad. Melee cleave it down. When he does about 8 or so leaps, stack up again. You get the picture. On his second and every third shapeshift, he will do a special ability. If his last form was Scorpion, he will produce burning orbs. These target the people closest in proximity. Pairs of 2 to soak these individually for a minute, or reposition the raid and have your tanks eat it, or immune classes. If Cat was his last form before his interval shift, you deal with burning seeds. A bomb placed on everybody with a 2-second difference. Take your turn blowing up away from people. Avoid taking damage to sustain a buff for your healing and damage. Kill him before 10 minutes pass. GG. Now for an in-depth explanation and some tech on this fight. You can start him in any form you want to. You and him both have an energy gimmick. Yours is concentration. You do 25% increased damage and healing, up to a maximum of 100%, relative to the amount of time you have not taken damage. His gimmick is actual energy, where he uses a spender when it caps at 100. Every time he uses a spender, the rate of him gaining energy increases. This rate resets when he shapeshifts. I'm going to start this guide with Scorpion. If more than 17 people are packed up in close proximity, or 7 on 10 man, 70% of the raid, he will up to go into Scorpion form. Scorpion form spender is Flame Scythe. This deals a chunk of damage to everyone it hits, distributed evenly amongst them. Every time one completes, the next one comes faster. You can have a soaker eat one of these solo, but if it hits less than 7 people, it'll act as if it failed, refunding 60% of the energy cost, making it happen again even faster than naturally. Avoid doing this unless you have some mega brain strategy. As this goes on, it becomes a burden to keep up with sustaining the raid. After about 8 or so stacks, whatever you're comfortable with, disperse. When there isn't 17 people clumped up in one spot, he goes into cat form. Now you're introduced to one of 2 caveats of him shifting forms. Every time he form shifts, he gains a stack of fury, increasing the damage of his spenders by 8% per stack. At 100 energy, his spender is leaping flames. He will land behind a person that is considered a ranged class. There being travel time involved means there's potential to avoid the damage. This leap places a 12-yard AoE on the ground that pulsates fire every half second for 12 yards, and creates a mirror image of his cat form where he leapt from. This is to be taunted by the tank and cleaved down by the melee. You do this phase for 8 or so leaps, and then bunch back together in a timely manner before he leaps again on all of you. If done successfully, he shifts again, but this time, he puts everyone in stasis for 3 seconds, his second caveat of shifting forms. At the end of his second and every third form shift after, depending on what his last form was, he will do one of 2 special abilities. Going from cat form to man form, he commits to a 4-second cast of Burning Seeds. When completed, 23 people will be afflicted. Everyone except for whoever the game considers the tanks, or whoever has popped an immunity before the cast completed, will have a bomb placed on them that'll go off within 14 to 60 seconds, differentiating by 2 seconds per person. Every 2 seconds, somebody should be exploding. On 10 man, it is 9 people, 15 seconds to 55 seconds apart, someone exploding every 5 seconds. And they should be exploding away from other people. Going from cat to scorpion means you're going to have to take time rotating out of the stack in order to blow up safely. If this is still going on as he's being swapped into cat, this will naturally alleviate some of the positional burden. Now the flip side, if on his transitional shift he is Scorpion, he will stasis the raid and do a 4-second channel for Burning Orbs. This will place 5 orbs, 2 on 10 man, at random locations within 60 yards of him. These will tether and apply a stackable dot to whoever is in closest proximity to them. Every 2 seconds, it applies a 6-second debuff, where every 2 seconds that debuff ticks for the damage its stack count is up to. The stack count can be immuned off, and if you're in an immune state, bubble ice block, you can temporarily goal keep the burden of this debuff. There are multiple methods of handling this. You can have a subgroup of 4 to 10 people in charge of taking turns gathering stacks from the orb. Or you can reposition the raid so that there is a location that is considered closest to every orb relative to the raid, and either A, have your tanks swap between taking all the beams, 6 seconds a pop, or have immune classes rotating in the exact same fashion. This fight is majority attrition, and I guess a little bit preference if you prefer to keep them in cat phase. The majority of your people keep their concentration buff. Your ranged have significant uptime, but your melee lose a couple globals each leap. When you're in Scorpion phase, nobody really wins unless you're scumbagging, as majority has to share the cleave to survive. The best bang for your buck DPS-wise is going to be keeping him in cat phase. Sure, the melee tab and beat on an ad that's there, but persistent double damage, even if there is delay inactivity from half the raid, is more substantial than having it consistently reset. As the fight drags on, Flame Scythe becomes dangerous because of the Fury stacks for each shift, where you would very likely want to opt out of taking the swipe by forcing him into cat form at around 90 energy. There is some mild tech with this fight, where you can manipulate what he turns into after a transitional shift. Remember how you're in stasis for 3 seconds, but he has a 4-second channel for his shift special? If you're going from cat form, as he is completing Searing Seeds, if you can disperse 17 people from being clumped up in 1 second, he will shift back into cat form, and vice versa. If you are going from Scorpion, he does his 4-second channel for Orbs, and you're able to condense in that 1 second of movement you have before that cast completes. You can force him back into Scorpion form. Little anticlimactic, this is it. It's a fight of attrition. You kill him before 10 minutes happen, or he enrages. And that is the entirety of Majordomo Staghelm. As always, thank you for watching. Shout out to my Patreons, thank you for your support. Here is a list of the things and stuff I use. Check out Alondo. And also check out Jordy. He does BIS lists, spreadsheets, guides. There is a plethora of WoW content on his channel. Check him out. Alright? Thank you. Links to my Twitch and Patreon. And I will see you again soon. TM.